All right, I think we live now, Blue. Think we live now, Blue. It's late Monday night. We see.
Chill.
Wait till a couple of people get into the chat room.
Yes, indeed.
You know what? Let me
Yes, I see the notification.
Okay, cool.
We are officially live.
Family, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, family. Let me know if you can hear me so we could get the show started. Right. Peace to everybody in the room. Soup Bone, Mia Love, Onika Rock, Photographing, Nita Mac, Chocolate City Info, Rob Rich, Sunspot Radio. Yes. Sons and daughters. Okay, cool. All right. Let me play some of these advertisers you guys definitely got to check out. You got some wonderful products that you guys won't see anywhere else.
Shout out to the advertisers. Shout out to the merchants out there. Shout out to the people that make Black Magic 360 possible. Shout out to the Patreon subscribers. You guys to the archive of the metaphysics that our brother Dr. Eileen Bay has contributed. Shout out to Dr. Eileen Bay. God damn it.
Yo, big shout out to Eileen.
Going in my bag. Like,
yeah. Big shout out. Eileen Bay made me
in the back. Yeah, I feel like I was in LIU again.
Yeah, I felt like I was in LIU, and he kind of inspired what I'm gonna talk about tonight. And Eileen just went nuts, man. 5 hours. I mean, full of energy. It wasn't a dog. You haven't seen the full thing yet, Blue, but I'm talking about from beginning to end, full of energy. You know how like after hour number 3, a Negro get tired. No. Yeah. Nah, Eileen was full of energy the whole time, man. So shout out to the brother Eileen. The brother, he got classes going on, him and his queen. So make sure in the beginning, I just ran a flyer with the brother. Make sure you check his stuff out. He also got a YouTube channel that you could check out. So make sure you go to his YouTube channel. But big shout out to the brother, Dr. Eileen L. Bay, holding it down. And I don't know why I'm getting these. Yeah, I know, family. I don't know why that's coming up on the. Oh man, this technology. I got this thing that's telling me card full. Hold on, let me fix this, family. Let me get this right, family. Let me fix this. That shit is garbage.
Put the post up to the IG. Let the family know that we are live streaming. You should do the same wherever you at. All right, let them know that we are here. We're in the building on a Monday evening. Okay. Rest in peace to the sister Aaliyah. We still remember her. In remembrance of Aaliyah, we want to make this a dedication to the baby girl. You dig what I'm saying? She was definitely one in a million. You will still miss. All right. We haven't forgotten. Of course, we are still in eternal remembrance of the queen mother. I haven't got a chance to necessarily touch this platform and speak about our sister Aretha Franklin. All right, but Red Pill did a phenomenal job. Shout out to him and his Melanin Monday series, of course.
Indeed, shout out to Red. I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of this little thing here, family. I don't know. Y'all might have to bear with me for today. It's kind of late. And no, that's not that family. Hold up, family. I know they like, what the hell is Brother Rich doing? Yeah, just trying. All right, so listen, family. The topic today. Oh yeah, it's crooked. Hold on, family. Hold on. The topic today, family. Here with the blue pillar.
Cheer.
And we talking about Black History, Blue. And we always hear about Black History, and we hear about us being from America. We hear about us being from Africa. You know, you got the malls. You hear about the.
Yes, there's a lot of consternation right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially, we're here in the illustrious month of August. This is normally recognized as Black August by way of our Pan-African brothers. Shout out to all of the political prisoners out there as well. You know, they're always recognized in this particular month. But this is when their level of blackness comes to the forefront. And, of course, you know, there is a level of consternation between our Pan-African RBG brothers and the Moorish brothers about our actual origins. All right?
And and like I said, we said on many platforms before, we're not a platform. We don't have the mindset where either you're right or I'm right. We could both say two different things and be right at the same time. That's the school of thought we come from when we come from this spiritual approach of things. And I understand, you know, you got the Hebrew Israelites say we the original Hebrews, we the original Israelites, you know, the 12 tribes. You know, just a lot of different groups saying we originate, and our history starts from a lot of different places.
Facts.
But Blue, man, you know, when I talk about Black history, where we come from, I'm talking about that source, the one.
What you talking about, Rich?
Talking about that God source. I'm talking about collective consciousness. I'm talking about, they call it the source field. They got so many names for it. The sun behind the sun, or I'm talking about not planet Earth. I'm not talking about, you know, some people say we come from another planet. I'm talking about beyond this whole universe, because the whole universe is a matrix. This is all a holographic illusion. This whole universe is a hologram. So we're beyond this universe. And I think one of the things that Akhenaten was dealing with when he came with Aten, and he talked about that light that we all, that this one light source that we all emanate from. He was on the money. Akhenaten was on the money.
He was a disruptor.
He was a disruptor. Akhenaten, let me say, Akhenaten was on the money.
Facts.
We come from, that's our history. That's where we come from. So it's like, okay, I understand on one level, we are the original Hebrews. On one level, we are indigenous to America. On one level, Africa is the motherland. That's why I can never refute any of that. But I'm talking about on the ultimate level, I'm fucking with Akhenaten.
So we talking about our cosmic origins tonight?
Our cosmic origins.
Wow.
That's our real history. That's the history.
Often overlooked, untouched topic that people feel very uncomfortable about. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't have a firm footing, no pun intended. So let's delve into it.
So, all right. Like I said, shout out to Eileen Bay once again, family. If you didn't see the presentation, the 5-hour full presentation is on Patreon. Shout out to all the Patreon members. Brother Panic is about to come with his. He has a monthly program on Patreon as well, and his program for the month is going to be the Melanated Guide to the Astral Realm. So it's gonna be fire. So y'all got some treats, man. Shout out to
Brother Panic.
Photographing for the donations, the 444 and the 222 donations, $2.22 and $4.44. So shout out to that brother. Yeah, let me see what's up with the chat room before I go. Okay, yeah, so everybody cool in the chat room. So we not even, the thing about it is people talking about white Jesus. I'm not even talking about a black Jesus. I'm talking about a frequency of God. I'm not even talking about a human. I'm not even, there's no human from when I'm this, before our human form, brother.
Right.
Like I'm talking about this is just our spacesuit down here, brother. This is my, like on the program I was reading a David Icke book, and
We're
I was
talking
like,
waves, not particles.
there you go, brother.
Right.
There you go. This is my fancy. The melanin body is a fancy car. It's the Bugatti of humanity. It's the Bugatti of humanity. So you know, we driving in the Bugatti of humanity.
Fact.
But I don't want us to think that we are the Bugatti.
Facts.
I appreciate the Bugatti of humanity. I appreciate this fancy spacesuit, melanated carbon, crystal spacesuit I'm in. But it's not me. You get it? It's not me. It's my avatar. It's a fancy avatar. So, Blue, just to start out with, Blue, you know, you've talked about ancient Kemet before. You've talked about a lot of the Moors before. To start out with, since we're talking about our cosmic origins and that being our ultimate black history, what's your opinion on Akhenaten, what he was doing versus, you know, everything else you hear about in antiquity and what our ancients talked about? Do you agree with him trying to just change everything the way he did?
Akhenaten was a disruptor, and what he disrupted at the time was the priesthood. And with the priesthood, you know, had enjoyed for all of that time leading up to Akhenaten was a stronghold on the minds of the people. You know what I'm saying? And this particular stronghold was centered around how they had people identifying and worshiping and acknowledging deity. You know what I'm saying? And it was very important for the priesthood to have a orderly, a orderly, structured way that people were showing up to pay homage. You dig what I'm saying? Akhenaten disrupted all of that and suggested that, you know, maybe we should do it this way as opposed to that way. And he was a major disruptor. He challenged the priesthood, and as a result, he paid with his life and his legacy. You know what I'm saying? Because he was erased from the from the canons of history. You know what I'm saying? After his untimely demise. So when they go through those lengths to pretty much scrape you off of the walls, then you know that you have done something pretty much effective. They said it was heresy and it couldn't stand because it was, it was out of place or it was an error. But I think that once again, that's something that you either let time decide, history decide, or the people decide. You know what I mean? But the priesthood back then, same as the priesthood is now, they're only concerned with having control and order on the minds and the hearts of the people based on whatever script it is that they're running. So, yeah, I damn sure agree with Akhenaten at the time. You know what I'm saying? For shaking shit up.
Indeed, man. I mean, it's just, you know, they say, Blue, they say in order to pierce the veil, well, let me say it like this. Eileen Bay was talking about UFOs, and he was saying that.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was saying that UFOs don't come from outer space. It comes from inner space. And that in order to see a UFO, you have to be on a certain frequency. So me, you, and 4 other gentlemen can all be standing, right? We all stand in the middle of the street, but only 2 of us sees the UFO. So the other 3 says, yo, this nigga's bugging. But Aleem's saying, and what a lot of people are saying now, is that came from inner space, and that our eyes are basically, we're seeing with our brain, not with our eyes. So
and that's a fact.
So yeah, talk on that, my brother.
That's a fact. And even when I speak about my experiences, when I initially started having contact with UFOs, 2 things happened.
So you had contact with UFOs, man? You gonna tell the people that?
I'm telling people that.
Okay, all right.
I sat in a room with one of my peers, a dignified peer of mine, and this was a few weeks ago, and he told a group full of gentlemen that he witnessed me summon a craft, and he decided not to share that with the world because there was no monetary value involved in it. So he couldn't figure out how to monetize my experience, so he wasn't willing to share that with the rest of the craft because we should only be focused on getting money, nigga. You understand?
Damn.
So, yes, I think that the secret is out, that people know. You feel me? That I've had communication, and two things have been, you know, a pronounced factor in that. And it was initially the first time that I was introduced to psilocybins, and it was the first time that I was introduced to monatomic gold. Okay, so what the monatomic gold coupled with the psilocybin did is it raised my vibrational frequency. The psilocybin was able to do what? Defocalize my filters. So now I was able to resonate on a different frequency, pull in something that was visible, right, to the unnaked eye into the physical realm, because if you see it, you know, it's technically real at that point. But it's all based on observation. So if the observer is observing it, and the eyes are an extension of my brain, right? The eyes are an extension of your brain. Okay? So if your brain or your pineal, right, because the goal is activating the pineal, it's doing things that, you know, no other substance out here is known to do. If the goal is decalcifying and activating the pineal, which they say is your third eye, then it's trickling down in your other, these two physical apparatuses called your eyes are now perceiving something at a different vibrational frequency that technically is there, but you can't see it because it's resonating on a different frequency, same as spirit realm. So I was listening to once Eileen's video went off, then Brother Panic's video came on, and Brother Panic was on the show way back with the sister Blue, when they was doing on Blog Talk.
Right.
You feel
Miss
me?
Blue.
Yeah, Miss Blue. And he was talking about Mitchell Gibson. And he was like, yeah, there's a brother out there named Mitchell. I forgot the last name. You know what I'm saying? And this brother can actually see spirits and communicate with spirits. You feel me? And how does that brother do that? You know, are you going to actually sit there and say that this brother don't know what he's talking about? Anybody that's students of Mitchell Gibson's know that Mitchell Gibson, God damn it, if you met Mitchell Gibson, you know that Mitchell Gibson ain't from here, God damn it.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? You know that brother's resonating on a different frequency altogether. And the things that he picks up and perceive is based on the fact that you could look at the aerodynamics of that brother's whole, his whole face, his whole setup, and see that he's resonating on a different frequency and picking up different bandwidths. So what is it about that brother that makes him pick up these frequencies or engage, right, and perceive reality differently than we perceive it? You know, for some people, these are practices that they have to go through. Some people are born that way, and some people are just endowed with this particular gift, you know, after they go through a certain thing. So there's people that go through accidents, right, that affect their brain in certain ways, and now they're clairvoyant or they're clairsentient,
right,
or they're this or they're that. You know what I mean?
Right.
They get the whole bionic man type features. You know, what amounts for that? You know what I'm saying? What accounts for that? Why is this sudden shift in their brain activity resulting in the fact that they can hear different or see different? Because we are locked into this small perception or this perceptual, variant of how we can perceive life or how we can perceive and pick up on things that are actually there that we don't know. You feel me? So, I mean, once again, it's one of those situations that if you know, you know. If you don't, there's only but so much that we can explain to you to say, look, this is what's going on, but you just don't get it. You feel me?
Do you blame, we got everything going on with religion and the priests, and we hear all types of crazy shit about with, religion sometimes. Do you blame religion for our lack of knowledge of our cosmic origin?
Absolutely. I think that that's a whole nother aspect of what the priesthood is holding back. You know what I'm saying?
Similar to the Akhenaten days, similar.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because if you even Google now, priesthood and mushrooms, or the similarities you find mushrooms, all of the iconography of mushrooms going through Christianity. You know what I'm saying? If you can just Google that yourself, just go to Mr. Google and find out for yourself how they have encoded psilocybins all throughout religion.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? So what are they talking about when they speak about the manna from heaven?
Kalindia Wheat, is that his name? He talks about that.
Yeah, Master Kalindi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kalindi speaks on that. But again, they could go to YouTube and they could Google it. They could hear some fine Europeans getting all into that. You dig what I'm saying? And they can explain to you that these religious orders have always spoken about mushrooms and psilocybins and defocalizing to get into different spectrums of how they could tap into things that are physically there. You just can't perceive them with what you would conceive to be the quote-unquote naked eye, because we're only perceiving about 3% of the light that's available to us.
Yeah, they say at most 10%.
At most 10%.
Yeah, like we don't see shit.
You dig what I'm saying? And ironically enough, they say, how much of your brain are you using?
10%.
At most, I would say 3%. 10% is like an Einstein level.
Stretch. That's your stretch.
You dig what I'm saying? So you see the correlation?
Yeah.
Right? The brain percentage that you're using is correlated to the same amount of light that you're picking up based on your eyes, because your eyes are an extension of your brain. So when you do things that are aiding and assisting, in particular, and you receiving more oxygen to the brain and your brain becoming more oxygenated, that's the secret to you becoming an illuminated, Illuminati, or what have you. The 33 degree is supposed to be the 33 ventricles of the vertebrae, and then you get into the 33 aspect of the brain. When it pops that ventricle open and you receive more oxygen to the brain, then you have access to what is conceived to be 10% or more of brain activity, and you become illuminated, because now you're able to perceive all that is available to you in this light spectrum. And you're like, oh, wow. You dig what I'm saying? So there's all sort of ritual ceremonies that people have to go through in levels and phases to get to that. You just can't push somebody into that. You dig what I'm saying? But there are people that are jumping into all sorts of, DMT and the shrooms and the this and the that. Once again, I heard the brother Panic. He had a program recently, right before he was on your program. He uploaded a program about his psychedelic weekend experience, and he was speaking about ayahuasca and DMT and the things that he was going through. You feel me? So it's very interesting to hear our the speakers in particular to speak on the shadow self, or the left-hand side, or the occult, go into these particular experiences and explain the motifs, because he was speaking about the serpent. You know what I'm saying? He was speaking about all of these things that you find on all of these religious texts that are pretty much shrouded in symbolism. Okay? Why are these the things that you're experiencing when you go into your shadow self, when you go into your inner world, when you deal with yourself in ways in which you become fearful of the very things that have been encoded into your subconscious at level 3. So, yeah.
So, I mean, this is a very, 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 I can't say very enough, interesting concept. When a person hears that the external world exists in your brain, because the millionaires, they're all doing meditation. Now, a person may say, to an average person, let's say the people with these Bugatti suits that we talk about, the people with these Bugatti suits, these melanin suits that I can absorb all the rays of the sun, my nigga, I absorb all the full spectrum, the full spectrum. So these Bugatti driving MFers out here, they don't know how to drive the Bugatti. But there's people that don't have the Bugattis that they're driving past the Bugatti, leaving it in the dust. And they're doing things like, you're talking about oxygen to the brain. So talk to me about, if we're talking about inner space and this innerverse and our cosmic origin, talk to me about, and a person would say, why the hell with everything going on, why the hell would Blue Pill and Rich talk about meditation? That is like so irrelevant to the ills and problems of black people right now. So talk to me with what we're saying. Talk to me about, babies dying. Yeah.
Meditation.
Yeah, so talk to me about that, my brother.
I mean,
the importance of it.
Again, yes. If we are to look at time-honored traditions, okay? If we are to pretty much tap into and follow the roadmap that has been left for us about how to get in or how to tap in, because they're all leading you to this particular premise by saying, look, you have to go within. After you exhaust yourself by going without, after you go outside of yourself and figure out that there's nothing outside of yourself, and it's time to actually go in, right? You got to go into that cave, the very most fearful thing, the pure darkness, okay? After you figure out that you have to do that, then again, what is awaiting you in that particular cave? Your inner fears are awaiting you in that particular cave. How do you subside those fears? You have to bring your mind to a stillness, right? The last particular psilocybin trip that I went on, I was in a national forest in Georgia, and I got into a situation where I got so entrenched into my trip that it became pitch black outside. You know what I'm saying? The sun went down, and I didn't have any lighting apparatus to guide myself out of it. So when I was actually at a point where I was getting my downloads, the entire forest behind me was lit up with noises. You know what I'm saying? They was like super increasing. Like, what? Insects was making noise. You heard animal noises. You heard all sorts of things. But all of this was to induce fear, right? All of this was to set up a challenge within myself to say, look, there's only one way to go. You know what I mean? You're not going to sit here forever. The fleet of starships was up there. You're not going up there. You're not going to jump in the waterfall. You got to go back into them woods. You dig what I'm saying? So it set up this whole aspect that I had to go into this cave of fear. I had to deal with the fear. You know what I'm saying? I had to face my fears. And it's the same thing with going into your inner world. You have to face your fears. And meditation is a technique that's utilized for you to stabilize that noise, okay? To stabilize all of those things, the false evidence, or, you know, the false evidence appearing real. Because none of that shit was real, okay? The minute I decided that I was willing to go into the thick of that forest and face my fears, all of the noise quieted. Okay, so that was my own inner meditation. I didn't have to sit lotus to go through that meditation. It was a walking, living meditation. It was a trial and a test. So the whole aspect of this meditation, you can never necessarily, quote unquote, still your mind, because there's still an observer outside of, you're still observing, right? It's you and it's your observer. So you're observing yourself like, where does the stillness come from? But the whole aspect that you're even willing to go through those lengths to think that that's what you can achieve in regards to stillness, that's noble within itself. And you're still going to receive, because there's no quiet and no stillness, because you're receiving downloads. Like, what's the whole aspect of saying, oh, I'm going to, I'm going into my inner cave and I'm going to achieve this level of nirvana where there's a level of stillness and quietness? No. You know, you're still going to have that epoch moment where you like, I heard the voice of God. Where did that come from? You dig what I'm saying? You got so still until you heard the voice of God. But that disturbed the stillness. So there was no stillness. So meditation is key. You feel me? Meditation is very key, because once again, like I said, the thing that we have not been trained to do is spend time with ourselves. Okay? That's what we have not achieved. The level of spending time with ourselves, because everything that you need to know about yourself, you will relate to yourself. Okay? As the observer, there's another part of you, the big homie, who's going to tell you certain things that you need to know about yourself to help you further along in this particular path, this holographic path that you're on. Right? So when I decided that I was ready to go back into that forest and actually deal with myself and deal with this whole aspect of the fear, you know, then my path became lighted. You dig what I'm saying? On some Billie Jean shit. I'm sharing my experience. Like, you could take it or you could throw it away. My nigga, it's not for you necessarily. I'm sharing it with you. You feel me? But it's not yours. So you can't tell me that I'm tripping out, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is something that I physically experienced. You dig what I'm saying? Like it or love it. You know, take it or leave it. This is what it was. So I feel that meditation is the same thing. There's something there for you, but you have to be willing to go and get it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not at the mouth of your journey. You have to go along the trail.
I know Elijah Muhammad talked about, a lot of, sometimes when we study Black history and when we study history in general, like I said, the Afrocentric scholars, they don't go that deep, but Elijah really went that deep. And it, you have on the hat, the Nation of Islam, you got the sun, the moon, the stars on your hat, my brother.
Shout out to the shifters, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me. Why do you think, people call Elijah spooky and all that? And
they might.
But what you think made Elijah go that deep in terms of, and why don't, if Elijah went there and he really went there, sometimes I don't see the members of the nation going that far as Elijah did.
I don't either.
So I'm curious, how can you be a part of an organization and not want to go somewhere where the most honorable went?
See, that's why we fuck with Rich. You know what I'm saying? Rich has this amazing ability to tap into mental frequency. And it's not only that it's something that has experienced with me, I see people sit here or call in and it happens with them as well. So this is something that I've heard Panic attest to. This is something that I've heard Red attest to. This is something that I've heard many people attest to. And what I'm saying is I was having this conversation with myself on the way here when I was lining up all of the organizations that have cosmic origins, right? Mm-hmm. But their members seemingly never seem to touch on no cosmic origins. Only the terra firma aspect. And even with the Nation of Islam, they don't touch on nationality. But the nation aspect is in the name. So you can get confused at times. Right? Whereas, you can explain where the cracker came from and the Caucasus Mountains. You could tell me the dimensions of the earth and how big it is and sextillion trails and all of that. But where do we come from? What about cosmic origins? Why the sun, moon, and the stars? You dig what I'm saying? What is this attesting to? You feel me? So I think that there's levels and there's degrees to this information. And, like all things, once you break a particular ceiling or you go into a particular frequency and bandwidth, then you're open and susceptible to different information, right? Your sight becomes illuminated. You go from just being conscious to enlightened. You know what I'm saying? You go from a level of enlightenment to a level of illumination. And, you know what I'm saying? You have access. You can appreciate this information on a different level. I don't think that people that are at an entry level, at a novice level, at an intermediate level, because we see from the Nation of Gods and Earth, they had supreme lessons, they had plus degrees, they had, they taught this information in degrees. As you supposed to, you can't feed steak to a baby. You dig what I'm saying? So hearing Farrakhan speak on it, and he has experiences that he speaks on in terms of him being in the flesh, living, having these experiences, not something that's transcendental in time of death. They're not speaking of, somebody from thousands and thousands of years ago. This man is still living and breathing today, and he said that he went on a graph. This is Farrakhan, right?
Yeah.
His word is still born in regards to he put the call out, people show up. That's his word. You know what I'm saying? That's his calling. You dig what I'm saying? So his word still holds a level of weight where people respond in a way in which where his word and his image and his visage holds still a level of weight where these people are still trying to shut him down and they don't want his word or his, his message to be heard. You feel me? They're still threatened in a way in which something that he has to say, they don't want it to be let out to the rest of the world. So this man's word holds a level of weight. And this is what his testimony is. You dig what I'm saying? I don't think it gets enough attention in the community because, of course, they're brushing it off like he's cuckoo. They're talking behind his back, same way they talk behind my back. So, Elijah, but they will always say who was better than Elijah. They will always say Elijah was dead on with everything else. But. You dig what I'm saying? Then they be like, you know, Scientology shit, talk about UFOs and aliens. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, I like I said, I could speak on some of my experiences for days, but I don't really know how much that's gonna help. I'm reluctant, again, based on my experiences of how I've seen them treat the messenger and others that have came, you know what I'm saying, with this information to say, look, maybe the people's not ready. You know what I mean?
How long are we gonna say the people's not ready?
But then that's
though?
what I'm saying. But then
How
I have
long
something
we gonna,
in me that's like, but how do you know that? There could be one person in this particular audience that you could speak to get it. But you're gonna have to put yourself on a cross to get to them. You dig what I'm saying? You're gonna have to sacrifice your sanity or you're standing in the community for people to throw arrows and say, God damn, this nigga's crazy.
He's crazy. Blue talking about crafts and all of that.
But yet and still, like I said, our entire, right, origin mythos is based on us coming from a star system called Sirius.
Hold up. Now, before you go there, let me get this brother right, because we was just talking about that. And there's a brother in the chat room that said, our home is Sirius. And it just made me, okay, yeah, the True Royal family. Shout out to the True Royal family. I don't know if that's a brother or sister, so. But the True Royal family said our home is Sirius. Me and Blue was just having a conversation about that, about Sirius and, you know, the science behind that constellation and everything. Blue got to get ready for this talk. So we're talking about Black history.
Yes.
Beyond, what do you want to say, terrestrial?
Yes. Beyond the terrestrial acknowledgement of whether you come from this side of the continent
or that
you
side.
From that side of the continent, or you exist somewhere in a goddamn sea. Whether you from Atlantis, okay? All right.
So talk to me about Black history. Nigga, I'm from Sirius. How about that? That sounds insane. Niggas be like, yo, so where we come from? We from Africa? Nah, nigga, we from Sirius. How you explain that one, Blue? How we from Sirius, okay. Blue? How you gonna explain that? Black history.
We're gonna take it from the south to the north or the north to the south. Okay? So if we're talking about our South African origins, all right, you let a European named Michael Tellinger run up on you and give you this whole aspect of, look, the South African civilization was founded by Pleiadians, right? Because David Icke jumped in on it, and they said that it was tall, pale, white aliens that came down, and they said that they was utilizing South Africans 25,000 years ago to mine gold. Look, these niggas gonna run up on me because my numbers might be wrong, right? They're not gonna challenge the information. They're gonna challenge the dates. That's how goddamn literal these niggas is. So, you know, give or take a few years, I might be off, all right? But that was the story and the narrative that he's talking about. Whereas when we get into Kemet, the entire aspect of the priesthood in Kemet, the entire aspect of Kemetic civilization was preparation for the afterlife, right?
Right.
When the soul ascended into the afterlife, goddammit, where did they say that the soul went? They say that the soul went home. Where is home but Sirius?
Shit, they lined the pyramids up with the Orion belt.
We already explained this in the 888 Lionsgate explanation that we gave to you in the last motherfucking lecture that we did when we went live. Okay? The whole thing was oriented around Sirius. All right? This entire country, okay, was founded, as I explained in the lecture this weekend, in Virginia, right, during Virgo. I said, yo, we just came from Maryland. I said, what do you think that those two places have in common? It's the Virgin Mary. In the middle of the Virgin Mary is a 10-square box called the District of Columbia, where your capital, right, where your president seems to be centered and located at as we speak. All right? But our brother Benjamin Banneker oriented that particular place to coincide directly with the star system Sirius, or the dog star, or the female dog, right? Even all Set or Isis is a bitch. Okay? In this particular pantheon. So this country that flies its colors of red, white, and blue, those Masonic colors, as I showed you, all of the Masonic countries fly the red, white, and blue. Okay? And that's all an acknowledgement of Sirius A, B, and C. This is all going back to Kemet, or as they would call it, Egypt, because this is all Ptolemaic for them. But they're acknowledging your ancestors. They're doing the work. They're consecrating and setting up, you know, the ways to make these particular tributes. The fireworks in July the 4th, the fireworks on December 31st. All of this is for Sirius. So you here, right, participating in the biggest ritual on the planet and don't even know it. And you niggas is running around talking about I'm this and I'm that and all this stupid shit, but nobody's dealing with their cosmic origins. No one's dealing with from whence they came. I'm just saying, bruh. Hold on. Who do you know that's deriving the powers from this shit? But they're trying to fight entities that are deriving the powers from it. How does that look? And they keep bumping their head and scratching their heads trying to figure out what they're doing wrong. Right? But even the scripture tells you to honor thy mother and thy father. Is your mother and your father, you know, do they have a terra firma existence, or do they have a cosmic existence that you're totally overlooking? Okay? Because the mother would be Osset and the father would be Asar. Or as they have termed it, it would be Orion and it would be Sirius. How do you tap into that? Okay? Our ancestors said, look, just by being aware of these celestial bodies and emotions in the skies, that's being aware. That's tapping into it. That's honoring it. You feel me? We don't have no ceremonies around none of these celestial events. All right? When these celestial events happen, we either being ritualized or niggas is on the internet gossiping. So how are we honoring our mothers and our fathers? You feel me? So, yeah, I would say that that's some stupid shit. But we have all of these names. We have all of this pomp. We got all of this colorful shit going on. But we don't acknowledge what's so obvious in front of us. No one's doing the goddamn work to figure this shit out. I ain't go to school for this. I'm not the smartest fucking tool in the shed. So why is it, once again, we're coming to them with this information and they're going to fight it, right? Because they heard us say something about UFOs, so they're going to blank everything else out that we said, right? Okay? They're going to blank everything else that we said. The Dogon been saying it since the 1800s, but we the crazy ones that come along because we mention it or we regurgitate it. But these niggas keep telling us to read books. Well, I'm telling you what the fuck I just read in a book. God damn it. Why can't you acknowledge what's being read is written in the book? So, but then again, and then you go beyond what's written in the book and you're telling them some of the secrets. And then they want to be like, well, where did you get that from? What's your primary sources? And I'm like, look, put one and two together. You dig what I'm saying? Like, it's obvious. It's in your face. Okay? Somebody has usurped the throne. You dig what I'm saying? And they are lactating off of your mother's titties. And they're getting swollen up by it. You dig what I'm saying? And you looking like, you know what I'm saying, the orphans that they just show you in the 80s with the flies. And you can't fight Goliath looking like that. So you have to figure out how you can honor your mother and your father and tap into, you know, all of the fruits and the gifts that they're bearing at this particular time. Because there's a lot going on in the cosmos, man. Real talk.
So, Blue, all right, we're talking about our real black history, our real history, our real origin, where we really come from, beyond this realm. What I want to ask you, Blue, is the point, us being here, this so-called 2018, one of the things that have helped me progress to the level where I'm at today and continues to help me is my acknowledgement of my true self and my
What's your true self?
My true self is that I'm an infinite. I am an infinite being.
You said a what, nigga?
Infinite, infinite. You know how they be like millionaire?
He said an infinite. I like
Yeah,
that. Hold on,
infinite.
man. Stick with your shit. He said an infinite.
Because we come from infinity. We come from infinity.
That's a new term.
So it's like,
I'm gonna see if I can put that on my goddamn census report.
That's out there.
They're
That's
like,
out there.
I'm on infinite.
So that's out there, but it's like when sometimes, all right, so this is the thing. So we're saying this is like a video game. This is like, you know, whatever.
Simulation.
Yeah, simulation. And what's the name of that thing that they got out now? The Oculus?
Oculus Rift.
So the Oculus Rift. So our soul's version of the Oculus Rift is the human brain. So we put this human brain on, and we think we the fucking simulation. You ever see somebody play Oculus and they think they in that motherfucker? Yeah. So our soul. I was so, I'm gonna tell you, Blue. I was gonna make more point, but I'm gonna say this. I was going somewhere totally else, but I'm gonna say this. One time, I don't smoke weed because it like I'm not, you know, it takes me places, you know. Like I'm real sensitive to, like I'm sensitive, period, to taste, touch, smell, feelings. I can feel shit. I you know, I'm very sensitive.
Empathic, brother.
Yeah, there you go. That word. So if I smoke weed, like, man, that should have me go out there sometimes. But one time I was smoking weed, right? I was probably about 25 years old, you know, and I smoke weed and I like doing it for ritualistic purposes. So I start reading and shit like that. So I smoke weed and I'm asking God, and I'm like, yo, what we call God. I'm like, yo, why are we going through this? In my mind, I'm like, hi. I'm like, why are we going through this? And the message that came down to me was like, well, I'm like, wow, why do you allow this to happen to us? And the message that came to me was like, nigga, because you don't even exist. That's why I don't care. And I'm like, oh, shit. I thought that was the most cold-blooded shit I ever heard in my life. For the message to come to me is like, nigga, you don't even exist.
Like I said, that's the big homie.
I thought that.
Only the big homie gonna talk to you like that.
I thought that was cold.
Like, little nigga, you don't fucking exist, okay?
Yeah, I thought that was some cold-blooded shit.
Stop hitting my line. My dick sucked. Nah.
I thought that was some cold-blooded shit, man. But, you know, the further I got into it, I understood the ego. And I understood things about the soul and the conscious and the subconscious and whatever. But what took me to the next level, I just said that story because I wanted to say it, but what took me to the next level is that regardless of what I was going through in life, sometimes I wouldn't say ignore, but I would understand my true nature. So if I was having financial problems, like if we tell somebody to say you're rich when you're poor, it almost feels like you're lying to yourself. So it's hard for people to say all the fancy affirmations that they give us.
Right. I heard somebody explain all of that about the I am and why it don't work. But continue.
So you gotta tell me who explained that. Who explained that? Well, you don't want to say it on camera.
I don't remember.
Okay. But my whole thing, because I got the I Am book right here. But when you associate,
that was your.
Yeah, I was going back in there. Yo, I like having fun with the knowledge, family. This is dope.
I'm gonna tumble just shot before you.
This is what knowledge is all about. So, Blue, hold up. Listen to my before.
Nigga, don't even.
So the whole purpose of the I Am, Blue, and the reason why it doesn't work is because people associate the I Am. You might associate the I Am with your avatar. So of course you're lying if you live in apartment 5B and there's roaches and there's rats and you say I'm rich and you look in and your senses is telling you, nigga, I'm poor. Your senses is gonna override the affirmation. But if you understand your cosmic origin and you understand that your brain is just the Oculus Rift, then you know you're an infinite. You know you divine love, you divine joy, you divine happiness. That's who we are. We're playing a game. That's our origin. We're still there. That's another thing. We never left there. We're still there. We just have on this Oculus, this brain Oculus that tricks us. The senses are very tricky. So talk to me about people thinking they're lying to themselves when we give them this fancy cosmic origin, but they feel like they're lying to themselves when they're going through hardships, Blue. They don't believe that fancy Sirius ABC shit that you're kicking because their senses are telling them something else. I need you to talk to those people, my brother. Blue Pill, my brother. I don't know. Blue Pill's looking something up.
I had a quote that I was gonna put up today. I waited. I said, look, this is make a good morning quote. I didn't know that I was gonna set this conversation up as the premise for why I was gonna put this up. tomorrow morning. So I'm living, I'm living ahead of myself or what have you. But it's a quote from Warren Buffett, right? And it said, millions of people can believe in you and none of it matters if you don't believe in yourself. Right?
Right.
And my post, my status, my caption, should I say, was this long dissertation about how, because we associate belief with the Bible, that, it gets a bad connotation, it gets a bad rap. So when we throw the Bible out, we throw out this whole concept of belief, not understanding that it's the undergirding aspect of man knowing thyself. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you ever get to a point where you know yourself? You feel me? Like, belief is wiping your eyes out. Knowing yourself is looking in the mirror and seeing yourself clearly for who you are. You're not going to be able to look yourself in the mirror eye to eye if you don't first believe what it is that, you know what I'm saying, that you're bearing witness to.
Right, right.
So I think that speaks to the premise of what you're talking about in regards to somebody could be in a situation, an immediate situation, because also lessons are telling you the only thing that exists is the now. So how can you differentiate from your immediate circumstance, right, in your environment, but then they want you to be lofty in your beliefs about yourself that extend either into the past or to the future to say, oh, I'm not my present condition, but I thought the only thing that exists was the now, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Low key, Esther Hicks was kind of beefing with Eckhart Tolle about that concept because she didn't agree with it completely.
Okay.
But not to his face, but just me studying, I noticed they kind of had a discrepancy about that. But go ahead.
So, yeah, like, and very recently somebody also hit me to that, where they was like, nah, we don't deal with that. The only thing that exists is the now. That's some BS. You know what I'm saying? That's people, they locking you in this third dimensional frequency with that cloth. Like, that's not really where it's at. And I was like, expound on it. And, like you said, if you're tapping into what I was speaking about earlier, that you are observing yourself. You know what I'm saying? But is that you that you're observing, or you an observer? You dig what I'm saying? Because even with the observer, there's another level. You dig what I'm saying? And that's where you're trying to get to say, look, I'm so much bigger than this. You feel me? I'm not the fuck. It was a conversation that I was having with myself. I was coming back out of town somewhere, and my higher self was like, nigga, you're not the blue pill. Like, don't ever get caught into this bullshit. You feel me? Like, don't get caught into this thing about you're this person that people perceive you to be. Because once you unrobe yourself and unflesh yourself, like, that's not what you're going to be considered. And like, that's not what you're going to be referenced as. This spark of light that you are is not called the blue pill. So this is my avatar. Like you said, I'm robed in flesh and I'm clothed in flesh. And I've taken on this particular personage. But where does that make place for Paul Marlin? All these different avatars that I've had, Twin and Felony and all of these different people, and P. Morpheus
Felony.
and P. More and all of these different, beings and you know what I'm saying, all of these different paths and these walks and these experiences that I've had. Like, how does that fit into this whole aspect that people only perceive this one aspect of myself, But how do you perceive yourself? And how do you differentiate all of these particular experiences and existences into this one focalized point that you're saying the only thing that exists is the now? No, goddammit. How? How can the only thing that exists is the now?
I want to expound on that, Blue. It's what you're talking about right now is so important. It's so important, bro. Like, you don't know, like a lot of people, if you're in the metaphysical, spiritual community, it's almost, you know how in the Christian community is blasphemous to go against Jesus? It's blasphemous to say the power now is some weird shit. It's like, how can you say that? Like, you know what I'm saying? But when I take it like this, and Esther Hicks talked about it. Shout out to Esther Hicks. I've learned a lot from her. The power now, if you look at it from the perspective of your soul is the eternal present. It doesn't exist in linear time sequence.
Yes.
So You are who you are before you was born. You're the same person when you were 5. You're the same person when you're 10. You're the same soul when you're 15. You're the same soul when you're 30. You're the same soul when you're 40. You're the same soul when you're 60 and when you're 80. That is the now. That's the power of now. I'm this person my whole experience,
right.
through the whole timeline. Yeah, it never changes.
And in the book, you have a book. We were reading it as well, but I've seen you post on it, the DNA resonance field.
Right, yeah.
It speaks about you are in the past, present, and the future.
In the future, right.
And quantum physics has shown that.
Yeah.
That you can do things in your future that affect your past. You could do things in your present that affect both. So there's a time continuum. Okay, it's not linear. There's a time continuum. It's centrifugal. As Red Pill, that's like one of his favorite words. Okay? But at the same time,
Red Pill.
you know, with all of that said, how do we differentiate? You know, even on the way here, I speak to myself a lot. I have conversations with my higher form, my higher self, that big homie that I'm talking about. And I'm gonna hip you into the conversation, right? Because it's tied into this conversation. It's tied into what's going on right now. So I was getting off the train and I was talking to my higher self, and my higher self was preparing me for this conversation, and I didn't know where the conversation was gonna go, but higher self was still like, yeah, and the key to it all is that the Sirius star is, a dog star and a female bitch, and Offset is a bitch. And I was like, God damn. I was like, but I wouldn't, somebody would probably say, well, is Mama Pill a bitch? Are you saying that Offset is?
Right.
And they're like, look. They said, at some point, don't be so literal with your definition and your explanations. But if you have to give this information up, then you have to give it up in the now, because you'll never have an opportunity to give it up as you're giving it up in the now, because there'll never be another blue pill. There'll never be a now. There'll never be an opportunity for you to disseminate the information the way that you're disseminating it, in the way that it's tied into your timeline, like you said, you know what I'm saying? The whole past aspect, my mother's who she is, Dr. Sabi, the whole timeline, the thing that comes along with us as our dossier, as our file in this particular lifetime, the way that people are going to perceive you and tell your story. So, yeah, that's very interesting that we would end up, at this particular place where we're having this conversation, unpacking this particular theory,
There's something that somebody wrote here. Now, we're talking about our history, our cosmic origin. Abayomi Awatund, I believe the name is, says, we are here to learn about this life to bring it back to the source. Now, Blue, when you think about God Almighty, the source field, the universe, or the one, or what all the names throughout humanity that we came up with to describe the being that is responsible for us and for the universe.
Yes, the source, the big homie.
And we talking now. So the Egyptians say, we want to get the hell out of here, never come back, right? So the Egyptians say that, but now people also say, source needs humanity. How the hell does source need something that we hate so much and that we want to, it's a prison. So source needs a prison. The great almighty needs this prison planet. So is humanity really that bad, Blue Pill? Because it seems like what we call God uses humanity to understand itself. So is humanity really as bad as maybe the way we make, are we misinterpreting what the ancient Egyptians were saying?
And they say knowledge is power.
Yes.
And they say, right, that even if man, and if man's entire journey is gnosis, is to know thyself, okay? If this whole thing is about obtaining knowledge of self, you dig what I'm saying? Then this is the most important thing in the universe, because you are a part and parcel, right? Same way that they say that a drop of water from the ocean is still the ocean. You dig what I'm saying? So it's the same theory, family, when we're talking about source. You're part and parcel of that particular source. So you're coming to this particular frequency, this earth prison, to know thyself. You know, you're coming to the garden at that. All right? So what better place than here? Because I don't hear any other stories about, again, they don't send you to Sirius to learn yourself or to know thyself. Once man knows thyself, you go back to Sirius. You dig what I'm saying? So this is really the jump off. This is school, you know? And how important in this society, let alone, is school or schooling, you know? Like, it's a prerequisite. Oh, you got to go to school. You know what I'm saying? This is how your self-worth and determination in society is determined, right? You get a degree and you get a doctorate, whether you're a graduate, you go to, you know, you excel to this level of school or what have you. This is how people are gauged in society based on their level of education, how it is that they interface with this whole experience called school and excelled. And it's the same thing that they're saying in the cosmos. So if this place is such a hellhole, if it's such a shithole, in the words of Donald Trump, okay? So if it's so bad, why does it hold so much importance in this universe?
Right.
Okay? Because it's forever going to be part of the memory file. Because whatever man knows about himself as the vicegerent or the agent of God trying to know himself is going to forever be tied into an earthly experience. So Earth is eternal. This spaceship that we're on, shout out to my flat earthers. Okay?
You ever?
They said I don't. They said, nah, I ain't gonna get it.
You know what the thing about Earth is, Blue? I want you to, you know, I'm just sharing a personal experience and maybe you could, you know, shed some light on it. You know, when you're playing basketball, you shoot a layup. It's easy to shoot a layup, right? You shoot a 3-point.
You don't shoot a layup.
Oh, I'm sorry. You lay up. You just lay up. you just lay up.
Yeah, you just lay up.
Then you can shoot a free throw. You can shoot a 3-pointer.
Right.
And you can shoot from half court.
Shout out to college.
You could get on Steph Curry shit and shoot full court. Steph Curry type ish. I want to use that analogy.
Did you hear about Kyrie Irving? We'll talk about that soon.
So
he's Aboriginal indigenous.
In terms of spirituality, we dream, right? In terms of dreams, you know, I may be in this room in a dream, and just like that, Blue, I'm in Australia. Then the next second, I'm in Paris. Then the next second, I got $1 million, Blue, and I'm in Dubai. So I got $1 million, I'm in Dubai, right? So once I become conscious that I'm dreaming, I want to hold on to that dream. And that's when people usually wake up. They be like, oh shit, I'm dreaming, but we don't want to wake up. And then once, we be like, I want to hold on to this dream. And then once we realize we dreaming, that shit, we let go, that shit, it disappears. And we like, oh fuck, man, I was just dreaming about, we be tight like, damn. This is the point I'm making. On Earth, it takes a lot of energy to crystallize something and to hold it in its form for an extended period of time. We see how hard that shit is in the astral realm. On Earth, it's like this shit. This is your spirit. Your spirit got to be a serious motherfucker to hold on what it wants for, let's say, 20 years. If in the astral realm, we lose that shit like that, we see how hard it is to hold on to something when we're conscious of it. Imagine being conscious of $1 million down here and holding on to it for 30 years. That shit ain't no joke. Because this is the most dense form, they say, in the universe. This is the lowest vibration, they say. So because it's that way, it's hard to crystallize something and to maintain it. So people lose things all the time. They lose love. They lose friendships. They lose family. They lose all the things they want because it has to be crystallized for such a long period of time.
Lose sanity.
Lose sanity. Brother, talk to me about, you got to be a master down here. Say what you say, but to live life like Jesus, you have to be a fucking master, Blue. You have to be this ain't for no fresh, this ain't no joke down here. Your spirit gotta be about its business to live like Christ, bro.
Freshmen.
To live like Christ, and to have something crystallized. Yeah. Bro, talk to me about that, man. Like shit ain't no joke down here, man. Shit is for the masters. This Christ shit. Like, bro. Like, yo.
I mean, there has to be a part of God that's resilient. There has to be a part of God that's triumphant. There has to be a part of God that's exemplary, right? In its ability to hold a charge. This is the same thing that I'm always talking about, right? Right. We're good with a spark, right? And it's the same thing in the streets. They say, yo, a nigga can hit a lick. You feel me? But getting bread, that's the easy part. Holding on to it, that's the hardest part, okay? Building your bread up. You know what I'm saying? And be able to build it up to a degree where, let's take somebody like a Jay-Z, for example. Look at his astronomical flip. You dig what I'm saying?
That's some goddess, huh?
From somebody who said that they lost 900 bricks and brought him back, and now he's 900 million up. On his way to a billionaire. And still steadily ascending, right? But people will still have the nerve to, question his ability to self-manifest. When he said from day one, this is what I'm in it for. He didn't say that I'm here to save your children or help put your kids to college and none of that shit. He said, look, I'm here to cake up. You feel me? I'm here. Right. It's money, you know. It's all about the Benjamins for me. And look where it took him, right? I can't speak on what he did to get there. I have no idea. That's not my business. That's between him and his experience with Source. Okay? That's between him and the ship that's recording and seeing all things because nothing's hitting on this particular plane. You feel me? It's the illusion, like I said, boom. Speaking of higher self. You know what I mean? We walk around in illusions all day. You know what I mean? We actually, right, because of our perception, oh, I'm clothed. I got this clothes on. I got designer on. I got this tank top on. No, you're naked. In reality, in truth, same way if there's a satellite, or if there's a ship, or if there's ancestors, or if there's spirit realm, you know what I'm saying? This goddamn thing right here don't matter. Like, they can pierce through here and see what's going on. You feel me?
Facts.
Spirit realm can see through this goddamn shirt. You dig what I'm saying? It's a false perception that I'm clothed, right, or I'm covered. It's like, no, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is crazy. The illusionary aspects that we participate in is all participatory. We all are participating in this illusion on top of an illusion. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, it takes a master to not only, because again, this goes back to mind over matter. It's not the matter that's holding on to the matter. You feel me? It's not the matter that's holding on to the material. It's the crystallization of the mind. That person had to have made their mind up to say, look, I grinded for this. I'm going to hold on to this. And this is the reason why. You know what I mean? And often it's stapled into either their love for self or love for family or love for money. Right? Or the love for that particular material thing to say, look, I'm not only going to hold on to this, but I'm going to whip it up and I'm going to live. I'm living my best life. I ain't going back to fuck with you niggas. So just a few experiences with you niggas will allow a person the mental fortitude to be like, I'm living my best life. I ain't going back to fuck with you niggas. Okay, and that's just enough. That's just enough to get the rocket fuel to blast so far away from you niggas to be like, never again. I can't do it. You dig what I'm saying? And that's sometimes all you need. You feel me? Jesus had to shake them niggas off to be like, look, I'm going to get on the cross to get away from you niggas. Okay? I'm going to resurrect and go back home. I ain't fucking with you niggas. Okay? I'm going to let you niggas tell stories about me for the rest of your life. But I'm up out of here. Okay? So.
That dude, Jesus, was a bad dude. I'm not saying he was just a dude that had it popping.
Shout out to Paul, who whipped that story up. One hell of a story. You dig what I'm saying? Whole lot of gems. If you can get past the emotionalism and unpack that shit and break it down for what it is. Like he said, you know, there's a lot to be learned from the narrative.
A lot, yeah, a whole lot.
From the narrative, there's a lot to be learned because we are going to go on that journey. It's an updated version of the hero's journey, the hero journey like Red was talking about this past week, and shout out to him.
D, man, well, I'm telling you, Blue, don't want to keep you too long tonight, man. It's 1:45 in the morning on the East Coast family. We got almost 800 people in the chat room. I appreciate everybody showing love. Let me take a couple of questions from the chat room. And then
let me
yeah, go ahead, Blue.
I want to do this, right?
Yeah.
Because I did this at the lecture, and it's been a while since I hit that stage. You feel me? I've been traveling with Red and Griff, and I've been opening up for them. You know what I'm saying? But it's been a minute since I put together my own presentation. And my presentation was pretty much a conglomeration of the episodes that I've been doing here on Black Magic, where I've been just giving bits and pieces of the astrological events that we've been, you know, bearing witness to. So I tied it all together all the way back from the total eclipse on August 21st of last year, all the way up into the ascension of Aretha Franklin. You know, but as I was preparing my lecture, Spirit came to me and it weighed on me, right? And it said, look, I need you to write something because I'm clairsentient and clairaudient, so I hear shit that I don't even supposed to be hearing at times. Mm-hmm. So I hear all of this banter in the community about, oh, what do these niggas do other than talk all the time? And what are they doing to change people's lives? And what am I getting from these lectures? And I'm paying $20 and I'm hearing the same thing. And I done went to this lecture and I done went to that lecture. And it was like, fam, listen, you know, so I got downloaded with some cloth talk to share with you niggas. And I even want to share it about tonight's presentation. Because some of you niggas in the audience, right, have the nerve to be like, what are these niggas doing up at 1:45 in the morning talking that bullshit, okay? Right? That metaphysical mumbo jumbo. So is it mental masturbation, okay, or is it the metaphysical mechanics? Or we explaining to you the mechanics of metaphysics, okay? And I'm going to explain to you what the job of a metaphysician is, okay? And I'm going to use the analogy of a mechanic to explain it to you niggas. A mechanic sees a problem and provides a solution. Once the vehicle is tuned up, where you decide to take it or how many miles you put on it, that's on you. What do I mean by that? When you take your car to get tuned up, that's the job of the mechanic. The mechanic is not responsible for once your fucking car is tuned up, where the hell you decide to take your car, how many miles you put on your car. That's not the job of a mechanic, okay? A mechanic replaces parts but is not responsible for driving your vehicle. That is in part on you. The maintenance of your vehicle is solely up to you. When you have failed to do so or have overlooked something which has resulted in failure, then you bring it to a mechanic. Or if you decide to soup your car up, you bring it in as well. This by no means means the mechanic, because they have tuned your car up, that their car in fact doesn't need a tuning up every now and then. Meaning, just because we are disseminating this information with you and helping you with the fucking tune-up does not mean that every now and then that we don't need a tune-up. Or our car is so perfect that we don't bring it into other mechanics to get checked out. As a matter of fact, their knowledge of tuning cars as a mechanic was primarily honed from the work they've done on their own set of wheels, which qualifies them to do the work in the first place. A mechanic who works the pit at a racetrack takes pride in seeing the car they have helped service doing well in the race. A win for one means a win for all, but the mechanic never purports to take responsibility for the overall win. Anybody can see the driver did that, but even he knows the teamwork made the dream work, nigga. So if something that we told you tonight helps you tune your car up and you motherfucking make it back to source and you get that red motherfucking ribbon on you, okay, goddamn it, make sure you be like, yo, them niggas help me out so when we get to the goddamn gate, okay, we can have a goddamn ticker tape when we get there, all right? But I'm not going to be, you know, trying to purport like I motherfucking rode the whip up there. No, that was on you, okay? We just provided you with some fuel to get there. That's all. Hold on, I'm not finished. The mechanic is merely there to do their job and lend a helping hand or extended hand in the form of a wrench to undo the driver from being screwed by the greasy job of bootleg fools masquerading as experts of their craft, vipers in the pit. We all navigate our own vehicles, but not everyone changes their own tires or pumps their own gas. That is outsourced for some. Not everyone changes their own oil. Some people bring it to the shop for a tune-up, for an alignment. You bring your car to get inspected. Some of us bring our physical vehicles, our bodies to get checked up. But how many people get their minds tuned up or checked out? Or do we change the water in our vehicles or the oil? Do we feel it? Do we fill it with unleaded or leaded? How many rely on GPS to navigate where they're headed? Or have we short-circuited our own personal navigation systems, our own inner compass? Who's responsible for mapping out your final destination? Because the love of living only comes through releasing the fear of death. Okay? The love of living only comes through releasing the fear of death. And because your goddamn teachers have not oriented you for the pleasure, okay, for the anticipation of death.
The pleasure of death. Woo, the pleasure.
For the fucking love of death.
Yeah,
you niggas live in fear of it.
Yeah,
and you're locked out in your whole fucking life because of that.
It's tasteful.
All right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're offering you. The pleasure of death. Taste that shit. Love that shit. Anticipate it. Look for it, goddammit. Go outside and log. Oh, where's that shit at? Yeah. Okay? When I was younger and we was taking the risks every goddamn day, living like daredevils, that was the most alive I've ever felt. Okay? When I fucking became conscious and they put all of these feathers and these filters on you and you had to fucking be so careful where you stepped and watch your words and all of this craziness. All right? That's when we started looking all fucking weird out here. Sorry.
Because
there are children.
Man. Yo, once we, I mean, that's facts. Once we change our concept of death, it's a game changer.
You are not in control of how you perceive the final destination. Look, this I'm in my Phil Valentine bag, y'all.
You read it?
This is how
check.
Phil.
You didn't say check.
Okay, this is how he opened up his lengthy dissertations. Organized religion, through its well-coordinated outreach, has monopolized the theater of death. The anglicized version of an ancient African concept has seeped into the crevices of our subconsciousness at level 3. Our ancestors' sole focus was on the inevitable, which was the theater of death, the play between the known and the unknown, living momentarily in order to live forever, never to return to the cycle of life here on Earth plane. They literally lived their entire lives preparing for departure, a lift-off that returned them home, never to return to this prison planet. Imagine being in a race on the Autobahn with a boot on your Benz. You will not only lose, you will lose miserably. Now the shoulder of the highway is strewn with fancy whips with blown transmissions and exploded batteries, being apart for his parts, salvaged for his tires, relieved of his shiny rims. Shiny rim theory, okay? A mere shell of itself. This planet is overcrowded by earthbound spirits who haven't transitioned into the relay loop of incarnation, let alone gain the wings to say goodbye to this realm forever. We are not living properly, and we damn sure are not dying properly. We are failing at life and death. And this has become burdensome. Could it be possible that we just might not be doing as well as we are led to believe? And I quote, "Faith without works is a dead faith because the lack of works reveals an unchanged life or a spiritually dead heart. There are many verses that say the true saving faith will result in a transformed life. That faith is demonstrated by the works we do. How we live reveals what we believe and whether the faith we profess to have is a living faith." End of quotes. Okay? So for the family out there, an incremental shift is enough to bring about a monumental change. All right? For mere pennies on the dollars, you can walk away with a wealth of information. If you were trading stocks on the market, that would be a sure investment. So why are people so reluctant to invest in their own personal development and or salvation? Because change can come in incremental shifts. 1 degree can change your perception and potentially lead to the cumulative changes that can totally reverse your world. If you are being provided eyewash from whence you can now see more clearly, then the gift of renewed or improved vision is something you can't even buy on late night TV. What's your 2020 vision for the future, huh? Can you see a clear path to the future, or is there some things that are obstructing your views? For what we provide a lens that helps you pierce the veil of illusion and see signs and symbols as signatures of systemic shifts and harbingers of change. A change has come, but how would you know if you don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear? What language is change announced in, goddammit? Talk to me.
Indeed.
What language is change announced in? How would you know? You wouldn't. All right? Is it a vocal proclamation or something you just wake up knowing and feeling in your center of perception that helps you differentiate how you feel from what you know versus how you think you feel from what you think you know? Do you feel it tingling in the brain and the gut, or do you know it to be fact in the brain in your head? Or all the while is your mind playing tricks on you and you don't know a goddamn thing? All right? So that's what we off over here. You get it? Huh? A small amount, incremental, can shift your entire fucking reality. And you ain't pay nothing to get this shit. This is cloth talk, goddammit. So stop with the, what is these niggas doing? I done shifted enough motherfucking lives around in this world to know what we doing is effective. All right? You don't got to convince me of nothing. My big homie tells me I'm good. All right? When I see them shifts in that whole colossal city of lights, I know that where I'm going, I'm going to get a welcome party. I'm fucking totally good. I can't wait, goddammit. You dig what I'm saying? I might even speed it up. So please, with all that other stupid shit, like, once you get past fear, then you start to really embrace the fruits of living this life, all right? And you can really tap in, and you can really become a fulcrum of change and a beacon of light, because the shit is going to start working through you because you have qualified yourself. That's what we want to help you bump yourself up to. That's why we up 2 a.m. talking to you niggas. Trust me, I got a bunch of things I could be doing. All right?
Indeed, indeed, man. Well, we about to wrap it up, family. Shout out to Nyla Welch for just giving a $5 donation. I haven't got a donation in a...
This is church. You niggas better hit that plate. Give it up.
You know, for such cloth talk.
If we was in church, they'd be like...
I didn't, for such cloth talk, I thought, it's kind of hard to get this information from a black YouTuber. This metaphysical talk, it's not abundant. It's not out there. It's not something that you could find anywhere. This black this talk.
When I'm on the road, I'm on YouTube. Like, where's the food at? You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My veins. I'm like, I need some dope. I want to shoot up. I'm on 16-hour bus rides by G.
Yeah. It's hard.
I'm like, where's it at? It don't exist out there.
It's crazy.
It ain't nowhere else. I can't find it. They better stop playing with themselves. They're not playing with us. They're playing with themselves at the end of the day. Because when this shit dries up and it's not there, like, what are you going to do? You feel me?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with yourselves? You're playing yourselves right now. You dig what I'm saying? You're playing yourselves because you went to church on Sunday, you gave it up, or you in these other weird-ass chat rooms making super donations and shit like that, getting your shout-outs. You feel me? Oh, thank you for all that stupid shit that they be doing. So stop. Cut it out. Well, take yourselves more seriously. All right?
The brother
and take this information more seriously at the end of the day. Ain't nobody here tooting their horn or mentally masturbating. That's not what we do. So
well, I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of how potent the information is, some people just ain't going to be able to utilize it. So, I don't take it personal anymore at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit. I could go on, but I don't even want to waste my precious currency on speaking about that because my currency is very precious. Shout out to Jay Smith with the donation. Sean Malik photographing once again. That brother always in the chat room holding me down. You know what I'm saying? These are individuals that appreciate the
That's what I'm saying.
information.
We got to be real about the company that we keep. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Because
you know, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. That's what the millionaires say, Blue.
This shit is not.
They say, show me your friends.
This shit is not. This shit
and
is
I'll
not,
show you your future.
This shit is not all about race, skin tone, and none of that. It's about vibrations and frequencies. So that my man is talking the same cloth talk that Warren Buffett be talking. What does it say here? There's a currency more valuable than money. It's called time. Use it wisely. What does that say right there, huh?
There's a currency more valuable than money. It's called time.
Yeah, this man's name is Rich. You dig what I'm saying? He's fucking with the wrong people right now. You dig what I'm saying?
Brother, I'm an infinite. I just told you.
All right? You resonating on that Buffett cloth talk. And you can say what you want. Because the man got pale skin and you're going to look at him crazy. That nigga from Sirius, though. How about that? How you going to differentiate? How you going to live with that? That nigga from Sirius, A. Huh? He's just a bubble away from B. How you going to deal with that? Huh? Can you filter that shit in your consciousness, little nigga?
He said he's from A. He ain't from B or C.
I broke the last. I ain't breaking these.
Yo, Buffett is from A. I'm from C, brother. I ain't from A. Yo,
Can you deal with it?
Listen, man. Yo, leave your
filter it?
Leave your contact information, my brother. So the monatomic gold. Some people ask about that as well. Yeah. Leave the info, brother, for all of that.
SoulGoldBiz.com. The shit had me seeing ships. I'm gonna tell you that now. I ain't taking that.
Shout out
before.
Black Zionist 2222-2222.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah,
he came out to the lecture and all of that.
Oh, he came out?
He's a legend.
Black Zionist. He came out. Shout out.
Supporter.
Yeah.
Not only did he come out, he got his goal and we dialogued for a minute. You know what I'm saying? He shared some cloth for me.
That's what's up.
It's
He's a reformed troll from when you and Supernova was here. The brother
told me his whole story.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Said that, we converted him. So, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out Black Zionist, man. I really appreciate, man. He's always in the chat room, man. Yeah, but go ahead, brother.
SoleGoldBiz. I'll say it again. SoleGoldBiz.com. Okay. You are going to be able to activate your pineal gland so you too can see the mothership.
Indeed, man. Listen, this
and twinthealbum.com. I love the support that we've been getting. You know what I'm saying? I remember like when we first put up Wakanda and I read a few of the comments in the chat and the shit. It was like, y'all niggas need to stick to lecturing. So I love I love that we have been able to bring this music, to a very vast audience, and it has been appreciated and well received. They're saying this is the best album they've heard in about 10 years or a decade. And, I definitely, give a shout out to our brother Kambada, Black Magic. I'm still working my ass off for some Black Magic beats for the next album. You know what I'm saying? I will get there. Trust me, family. You dig what I'm saying? So make sure that you go to, what's the website for this?
Kambadamusic.com.
Kambadamusic.com. TwinTheAlbum.com. The movie is on its way. All right, episode 1, The Womb. That is going to be dropping very soon. At Blue Pillar 44 on IG is where you can holler at me if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, because I don't be comment creeping in the comment section. So holler at me directly. Some of you know how to get my... Nah, we ain't going to do that, because y'all niggas be calling me at 3 in the morning, so... That's a no-no. Blowing me up, getting me in all kind of trouble. Who the hell is that? I don't know. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah,
why they calling you 2 or 3 times in a row?
I don't know. We be telling the truth.
I don't know.
We be telling
all kind of trouble with you niggas, man.
My girl will be like, "Who is that?" I be like, "I don't know. Do you see the area code? I don't know." She be like, "Stop leaving your number. Please stop leaving." Yo, this brother Rich, we signing out. Before we do, I seen El Sheba segment. We was talking about the black YouTubers talking about metaphysics. The brother Seven Bomar. You heard of that brother?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Shout out to
I
him.
keep. This is about the fourth person that told me about the brother.
He's in Costa Rica.
Yeah, I gotta look into that brother a little more. I appreciate you for mentioning his channel. Some other people told me about the brother's channel as well.
High frequency.
Yeah. I'm working on a documentary, so I definitely I'm gonna look into that brother and see what he's about. And you know, shout out to that brother. He's obviously putting in the work. If people keep bringing his name up, so yeah, shout out to that brother and what he's doing. And you know, I'll reach out to that brother when time calls
shout out
for
to
it.
all the space cadets.
Yes.
I'm gonna take all of the motherfucking arrows for y'all. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? But when them ships show up, them niggas damn sure gonna make your DMs like, yo, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Indeed, man.
Yeah. You know, I'm just, just shout out for the people who perceive this world differently. Again, I was listening to the Panic show that I was telling you about. You know, it popped up in the feed and it was playing and I started listening to it. He was talking about the left hand, you know what I'm saying, the left hand path. And, you know, I was thinking about an event that just happened here in New York City this past weekend. Weird as fuck. The Afropunk, you know what I'm saying? We can't even like accurately describe it, but we intermingle with, you know, people from the quote unquote conscious community or the woke community, some of the younger millennials or what have you. Or that, I don't even know if they millennials, just like generation Y or Z, whatever generation they up to. You know, people that listen to this information on these platforms and shit, you know what I mean? Like, these are the worlds that they intermingle and interface with, you know, and a lot of those people have already made the decisions. The youngsters, they're 18, 19, 20. These people are going to grow up on Bobby. They grew up on Asia. They grew up on different people, and they have already made these consecrated decisions in their lives that they're going to, you know, not take the right path. They're going to go by way of the left path. And when we see what structure society offers in this particular realm by way of the right path, that shit is like Catholic church, school, you know, regular forms of education, get a 9 to 5. Like, that's a dying paradigm. You know what I mean? The left path is now looking like it's crowded as fuck. You know, you go to Afropunk, that shit is a full-blown affair. Again, it looks like something is very undiscernible if you're looking at it with eyes in which are so, or you know, puritanically ordained to say, oh, I don't recognize this. Where are these people? Where did they come from? You know, who's they big homie, X, Y, and Z? Like, you really can't put a finger on it. The shit is just different. You know what I mean? And those children have chosen the left path, you know. And I have a very, well, I already know that our generation or our community has disowned those children, right? Because they don't understand them. Because this shit is Christianity with a whole nother name to it called the conscious community, the Puritans, all right? But we you know, we got to see things for what it is, you know what I mean? I could talk to them about aliens quicker than I could talk to these niggas, these fucking Puritans, these literalists, all right? These pump your fist in the air ass niggas that, once again, you know, are claiming something but have no basis of the origins, right? Are claiming something but can't tap into none of the fucking cosmic power attached to it. You dig what I'm saying? They're so fixed on what's underneath their feet that they have no idea what's going on over their head. And the goddamn sky is crashing down on them. All right? Because they're remnants of a bygone era. That shit is getting washed up and washed away. So please, family, once again, understand that this information is not new age. It's ancient as fucking, like, the further and further and further you tap back into our information, this is what they saying. They saying that they got posited here from some people from another planet, or this information that they got about their origins was given to them from people from another planet, okay? They talking that alien versus predator shit. So you need to figure out a way that you can make it your own, tap into it, hone in on it, you know what I'm saying, and make sense of it, all right? Because your ass is not from Morocco, goddamn it. Nah.
From Sirius, our cosmic origin, man. Man, listen, if you just tuned in, we done talked on our cosmic origin, our real black history, our ultimate black history. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Listen, Eileen Bay just did the 5-hour presentation on Patreon. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you sign up. He got the monthly show. Brother Panic got the monthly show. We got a couple of brothers that's signing up to the monthly show. Brother Panic show, the Melanated Guide to the Astral Realm. It will premiere in a couple of days.
We working on our way.
To
get there. We got like 44 more episodes to go.
44.
Then the brother gonna be like, y'all get your own playlist and we're gonna bump you up to Patreon and shit. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna put you out the pasture on Patreon.
So I definitely, man, I appreciate everybody. Brother Rich, UG, Blueprint over tonight. Listen, we signing out, family. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.